What is up, everyone? Welcome to the 2022 fantasypoints.com. I guess we're calling this Ranking Summit. I'm John Hansen. We've got Scott Barrett, Tom Brolley, and Joe Dolan here. Most of the main staff here, and our guy Ben Kukanis on the other side of the glass, keeping us on the air. Before we get into what this is and get into the meat and potatoes here, I've been informed that I should be promoting our YouTube page. If you're watching this live on YouTube right now, fantasypoints.com or youtube.com/fantasypoints. Please subscribe to the fantasypoints.com YouTube page and also go into the Fantasy Points page, I guess, on YouTube and go into the channels where you can also subscribe and check out the PGA content and the college football content on YouTube. Two things that we're ramping up this year. All right, guys. Well, the meaning of this little get together is to basically go through our rankings and projections. We're doing it a little ass backwards here, and I think it's fine. I think the way it played out is I did the projections. It did get some feedback along the way from you guys, but I kind of went off basically and, went on my own a little bit. And I think what has happened is you guys have marinated in those rankings and projections now for a couple of weeks. So plenty of time to make adjustments and the like. I will say I have never spent more time on the projections pre-draft and post-draft than I did this year. Obviously, I'm doing the SiriusXM radio show 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. So, I mean, I'm all in, I'm never getting disengaged. So I personally feel really good about the projections, but you guys, I'm sure, have some disagreements, right, Joe? I mean, there's got to be some nitpicking here, right?
Well, quite frankly, Scott was the one who called this thing because he's like, I really disagree with you guys on some big ones. But I mean, John, I think the collaborative process has been really good for us. And there's so much going on where, I mean, I think we do a good job of seeing where we're different from a lot of the industry, but also having convictions when we are different. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see where a lot of these guys go. John, you just made a big move at quarterback, and I mean, I had some concerns about it, but you just moved Jalen Hurts above Lamar Jackson to sixth, and my concern would be that Jalen Hurts, I think, has a much greater shot of getting benched than Lamar Jackson. But, what if he doesn't? I mean, if Jalen Hurts plays well, he could be the number one overall quarterback for fantasy football. And he's got a great supporting cast this year. I mean, I don't mind being aggressive because I think I'm going to be drafting Hurts a ton again.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of guys who are really close, and there's only so much we can do in May. There are a number of situations, maybe 30% of all the players are involved in scenarios that need to unfold a little bit more and play out a little bit more when the pads go on. And the only other thing I will add, and this is a little discouraging, but I can tell you that I'll do things over these last 2 years, like on my own. You guys will give your feedback. I'll make the changes. I can tell you it's 50-50 in terms of 50. Half the time you guys are right to convince me. Half the time you're not. I mean, I can tell you that. So I don't know how I don't know what that does, if that, helps or hurts or whatever, but just throwing that out there for what, I think it's worth.
There were issues last year. I mean, I wish we just weren't as we got freaking scared away on Jonathan Taylor, and it's so stupid in hindsight. I don't even really remember what it was. Like, I think it was Frank Rowe, Naeem Hines, and we got to get Marlon Mack involved, which was stupid on his part. To be fair, he did try to do that, and then he realized it was stupid. But yeah, you were right on Jonathan Taylor, John, and I wish we.
But then again, you guys told me, and you were right, that I wasn't high enough on Eckler. Of course, watch Eckler this year do exactly as I thought he would do last year, or most years. He misses a little bit of time, but that's neither here nor there. All right. Well, Scott may have some discrepancies and disagreements, so let's get right into it here. And I guess, guys, since I did these rankings and projections, I mean, I did take some feedback from you guys, but this is definitely more me. I think I should probably throw it out to you guys, and then we'll chop it up here. I will also say before we get into it, Mahomes is, he is just sitting there for now. Like, I only have 4 points separating Burrow and Mahomes. Personally, I have no problem putting Burrow at 2. So for me, if like the vibes are pretty good or not bad, and the vibes are a little maybe suspect in KC, I'll make that move. But otherwise, I'm ready to. I'm up for debate here, guys, at the quarterback.
Yeah. Can I take the lead on this live stream?
Go ahead.
You guys said, or John said, we had time to marinate. I had time to marinate and stew, and I got salty. And I figured, why not make this a live stream so our subscribers can get some value instead of just a private call between the 4 of us. And so let's start with the quarterback position. John said he would take Joe Burrow as high as QB2. I would not take him before QB8. He has the worst quarterback schedule change of any quarterback last season. He finished 10th in fantasy points per start between Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford. He's going 5 spots ahead of Dak Prescott, 6 spots ahead of Matthew Stafford. But if you factor in the schedule discrepancy for all quarterbacks, he would have outscored both of them by over a full point per game. And it's just, I think we have a blind spot here against hypermobile quarterbacks, which are such a cheat code in fantasy. And I mean, we have Patrick Mahomes, QB2, non-hypermobile quarterback who lost Tyreek Hill. Justin Herbert, I mean, I get it, but a freak athlete. He could be Josh Allen 2.0, but not a Konami code quarterback. Joe Burrow 4, Tom Brady 5. And then we got Lamar Jackson 6, Jalen Hurts 7, Dak Prescott 8, Kyler Murray 9. I would take Kyler Murray QB3. I think he's my QB3.
Ooh, see that now that's interesting to me because I have terrible vibes on Kyler right now.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean the holdout, but I don't think that's real. Minus the holdout.
I mean Hopkins.
Yeah, he has Marquise Brown.
How about
had 3,000 yards with in college?
How about Cliff fall off a Cliff Kingsbury?
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't
Cliff
think
fall
it
off
really,
a Kings. Yeah, for whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, their offenses have fallen off a cliff the last 2 years.
I mean,
it's massively improved in terms of receiver talent. Ideally, if Rondale Moore takes the next step, and it just comes down to mobility. We've seen for 2 years in a row, the first half when he's healthy and he's running, he's the QB1, the overall QB1, and then each year there's a shoulder injury or another injury, and he starts running less. But even with that factored in, he's still like a rock solid, QB6 in my estimation. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts too. It's just such a cheat code over these Tom Brady, who by the way is like 45 years old, Joe Burrow types.
But by the way,
I want to bet my hedge will be I'll bet Joe Burrow to win MVP, but I'm not going to draft him above Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. And even by the way, if you want to talk about a non-Konami code quarterback, why do we have Matthew Stafford at QB 13?
Well,
I might like him more than Burrow.
Oh, I don't. He just had an elbow injection too, which
it was his first year with the team, and what did he do? He won the Super Bowl,
which means he's going downhill this year. That's
Allen Robinson.
Well, okay, let's go there because here's my problem with the Ram offense. You lost your star left tackle. That's number one. OBJ obviously is gone. The depth chart, other than Kupp and Allen Robinson, who's also coming off a shit season, is basically they are basically telling Cooper Kupp, dude, we need you to go completely nuts again for us to maintain where we were last year. I mean, that, what if Kupp, who's pushing 30 and had the single highest usage in the league history last year, I would contend. What if he gets that lingering knee problem? All of a sudden now A-Rob on a new team on the decline, Van Jefferson dropping balls, and then Higbee, who just does nothing but underwhelm us. Like, this is a problem to me.
Or what if he's just the next Jerry Rice? He's vanilla Rice, Jerry White Rice. He's that guy, and everything is easy for Stafford. I think supporting cast, yeah, sure, losing the left tackle is big, but I mean, Robert Woods was only healthy half the season. OBJ was like technically never healthy. And they say they want to sign OBJ back as well, and we have him.
That'll change it a little bit. That'll change it a little bit.
We have him 5 spots below where he finished last year, and I think he's only going to get better with a second year in that Sean McVay system.
Well, I also think too, guys, we're comparing apples to apples here. I mean, we're comparing a guy like Stafford to Aaron Rodgers. I know he has got his issues. Right,
but Joe Burrow finished 0.1 fantasy points per start above Stafford. They were basically tied, and we have one guy QB4, one guy QB13.
We also have one guy who has, I think, honestly at this point, a vastly superior supporting cast.
He's also 10 years younger and not coming off an ACL like he did last year.
I think the Rams' offensive line is still better. Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp, you could call that a wash. And then it's T. Higgins versus A-Rob potentially plus OBJ. I mean, they lost CJ Uzomah. Higbee might stink, but he's better than that guy.
Well, guys, what do you guys think of Burrow? Let's start there. Like,
I don't mind being aggressive on Burrow at all. I would argue that I would take Hurts and Jackson above Brady.
I don't like Brady. I am projecting what I feel are very fair numbers. And it lands high.
John,
I don't like it.
So I think, just the raw volume. Like they had like 50% more passing yards and 50% more passing touchdowns than like the number 10 passing offense. Like just obscene. The concern is injury and age, but I mean, I'm fine being aggressive on him. Burrow, I don't think has the same potential volume. I think when they're massively trailing, okay, Burrow, light it up. But otherwise, they wanted it to be the Joe Mixon show.
That's my thing with Burrow. Zach Taylor showed that he wants to run the ball. You know, he would try to run the ball early in games, and it would fall back on Burrow. So I'm with Scott. I'd rather have Hurts and Jackson at least above Burrow and Brady. Kyler, I can go both ways. I think Kyler has the higher ceiling. But Burrow, I think they improved their offensive line. I think they're gonna want to run the ball a little bit more.
I'd take Kyler above Dak Prescott, John. I know that those are two guys we're not.
Sure. Well, I can do that for sure.
Yeah,
Dak's weapons are
that is flick. By the way, there's been a lot of little rotation in this group here. They're all really
I mean.
Close.
These are, but like, here are really the guys, like, honestly.
Yeah, just looking at the rankings, John, like, I just don't see Burrow in the, we have these listed by tiers. I don't see him in a tier with Mahomes and Herbert. I mean, I think he's in that third tier, basically goes to like quarterback 10 there. And I would have Stafford in that, third tier.
I don't know, man. He's a 24-year-old superstar who got his team.
So that's the thing is like, he's freaking amazing. Like no question about that. Bet him to win MVP. Like why not? Like, is he the next Tom Brady? You called that, John, him coming out and like no disagreements, none at the time, none today. It's just like a question of rushing. You rush 10 yards. That's 1 point. You need to pass for 25 yards to get 1 point. It's just such a cheat code. And then volume concerns.
Yeah, I would like looking at Burrow's projection.
Well, I'm giving them. Let me give you the number of passes here. 585.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. 585. John, I'd probably have it closer to like 560.
36.5 attempts a game.
What's that? 36.
Yeah, I mean that's.
And last year he was at 520 in 16 games, which was 32 and a half.
I think the offensive line upgrade, like they're gonna try to run the ball a little bit more. I think that's in Zach Taylor's blood. Like 585 is just a lot of it.
They didn't add anything to the backfield, by the way.
I know it's all Mixon and P-Ryan again.
Yeah,
I just think the passing attempts total is a little heavy. I'd shave off.
I think I'd
20 to
shave
30
off a
attempts.
few pass attempts and a few rush yards, John. He ran for, well, I will say,
I got him for 215. That's like nothing.
Yeah. He had 118 last year.
I got him running for 13 yards a game.
Yeah, he had 118 last year. He ran for 8 yards a game in the playoffs. I guess you could be fair and say that's going to go up a year removed from the ACL, but I'd probably shave off 15, 20 yards.
I don't think they want him to run though.
All right. I mean, I know they don't. I'll shave it off a little bit.
John, I'm more. I think I'm more on your side here.
I'm bull. I love Burrow. I'm with Scott when he says that he could win the MVP and all that. I just don't necessarily.
Here's what I've
know
learned.
He has that 50 touchdown, type of season that he's going to need to be a top 3 quarterback. One of those.
Here's what I've learned though. When we see these quarterbacks come down the line and we know they're good, like superstar good, early in their career, you just go with it. It's like, don't overcomplicate things. I mean, actually, Stafford's a great example. Joe, I think you were around that year. We freaking love Stafford that year.
3rd year in the league. Like, John, we were getting yelled at for that because he got hurt his first 2 years. And then his 3rd year in the league, I think he threw 41 touchdown passes.
Yeah. So that was an example of like, I'm not overthinking this. Like, I'm going to factor in the durability concerns the first 2 years, but he's an absolute superstar with Calvin, basically.
Yeah. And
that's something I learned from you, John, these past few years is like, just don't overthink it. If a guy is super elite, just take, I said Jonathan Taylor was going to be one of the best running backs to come out of the past 5 years. Jamar Chase was maybe the best wide receiver to come out since Julio Jones. And then I'm like, well, it's Frank Reich says it's going to be a committee in Indianapolis. And I'm like, well, beat writers say he looks terrible. And, he did take a full year off. And Elijah Moore is really good and like 7 rounds cheaper. And it's like, no. These guys are awesome. Draft him. I think a major exception with this is the quarterback position, where just that massively high floor from the rushing production is just such a cheat code. Burrow is definitely hands down better than these other quarterbacks, but he doesn't have the ceiling. He doesn't have the floor. He doesn't have the week-to-week consistency. He doesn't have the game script immunity. And it's just average projection. I think median projection, I think, should be higher for these Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray types. I mean, well,
I will also add, and this was one of my big lessons learned and from 2021, and maybe it doesn't apply this year, but look, I've been on the cheat code from frickin' the Randall Cunningham era in 1998. Trust me. But I did feel like last year the cheat code failed us a little bit. Kyler, you mentioned this is 2 years. Can he get through a whole year and run all year? I mean, John, he hadn't done it yet without getting some sort of injury.
Maybe Cosell would yell at me for this, and forgive me, Greg, if you would. I almost kind of feel like Kyler hasn't gotten better.
I thought he got a little bit better from winning from the pocket.
From an NFL perspective, that may be true, but he doesn't need to get better from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah. Let me throw this out there, though. 26.3 fantasy points per game with Hopkins.
Yeah.
That would be QB1, which speaks to a ceiling. But he was 21.0 without, which would be QB10.
Yeah, that was also the injury thing going on there, because you see the rushing production fall off a cliff for no reason. And also James Conner flukily, insanely efficient inside the red zone, which isn't like super consistent. But like he did finish with 22.6 fantasy points per start. That's 2 more than Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts outscored him. Lamar Jackson outscored him. Freaking Tyler Huntley was only half a point per start behind Joe Burrow. It's just like, you don't need to be good. That's the crux of the thing. It's like an amazingly hyper-efficient passer is still usually worth less than a middling efficient passer who runs a shit ton.
Well, I have come to a place after this past year where, and again, I get all that, but I kind of like the passers who run a little bit. And Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes. I know we can't truly count on it. I know, but I think Herbert at this point we can count on for 300 plus and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Burrow 2 to 3. But what's more likely? We what's more likely to happen? Kyler Murray stays healthy and is a QB2 at season's end, or he kind of underwhelms and is good, like the last 2 years, but at the end of the season, he doesn't really stack up all that well. Like he's only a little better than Lamar.
Yeah, I mean him underwhelming, but we got to build in ceilings. That's what wins leagues, and Scott wrote the series, the upside wins championship. I mean, there's that possibility where he does stay healthy. He gets DeAndre Hopkins back after 6 games, and their defense, continues to stink. They're playing a lot of, high-scoring games, and it all comes together, and he's a top 3 quarterback. So,
I can move him up.
Take that in a little bit.
I mean, I can move him up over Brady because I don't like Brady. I mean, I just have a bet.
He's already 1 foot out the door, John.
Well, I will see. I will say, if you read the Good Vibes, Bad Vibes article, I loved. I'm like, they're gonna crush it. They're gonna kill everybody, and they did basically. But he's a year older. The O-line shakeups. Godwin with the ACL. I think Gage is a step down from AB, even though AB wasn't really there a lot, but just on paper. So.
And
what about
I don't mind.
What about Kyler Lamar?
I mean, so another thing is like, I don't know what to do with Lamar. So I talked about schedule change. His schedule is dramatically worse this year. And he was one of the worst, least efficient, least accurate quarterbacks last season. His backup was like arguably better. And it's not that much of an argument, I think. Have opposing defenses like finally figured him out. I think it really is just like he works so much better off of a successful running game. Yeah. And they don't want to be what they were last year. They need a healthy J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and he's going to thrive off of an efficient and successful running game. But I mean, like you could poke holes in all these guys. I think he's tricky.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts over him.
Lamar's rushing yards seem pretty light. I mean, he was at 767 last year and, played in only 12 games last year. So, I mean,
yeah, well, that's a good point because
he was up near 1,000 yards. He had 1,000, first guy to run for 1,000 yards in his first 2. Like his rushing yardage looks a little light.
38-65 is a lot of passing yards for Lamar. I'd chop some of that passing and add it and give it to him in rushing.
Well,
that's a lot of rushing yards for passing yards for Lamar.
Yeah,
he didn't even.
I would think Lamar might be closer to 3,500 passing yards.
He was 700 yards shy of that when he won the MVP.
I haven't starting with the rushing, I haven't 9 a game. I know that's not light. I mean, that's light, but it's not that light. And I'm baking in the fact that he freaking had a catastrophe injury-wise at the end of the season. He also gets COVID every other week.
Weak immune system.
Yeah, I'm just saying, John, I think you're heavy on him as a passer. Like, I mean, look, he lost his top wide receiver. They have nothing beyond Bateman at receiver.
I mean, that's definitely fair.
I still take Lamar over Kyler because I trust his rushing more. Like
he's got to say, nice safe.
They're bringing that offense backwards.
Well,
like that's my opinion. Like
I think the efficiency numbers are fine, but the number of attempts needs to go down because the point is, and this is all still kind of materializing in my mind because I spoke with Jamison Hensley this week. It's a great John Houseman name, by the way, Jamison Hensley. But I said, are they regressing? Are they reverting to previous form and devolving or whatever word you want to use? And he's like, yes, they are. The question is, though, because I thought they were looking to expand the offense in the passing game, and they tried it by drafting Bateman.
And it didn't work.
Right. Is that better for Lamar? That they're going to be
fantasy? I think so.
I think it
is. I think it's better for him for fantasy. They're just like, we're just going to go back to what worked.
What else I have? And again, I'm factoring in all these elements. I think Greg Roman is average.
Oh yeah.
And the league I think the league knows Greg Roman. And I think
he's working with an average quarterback, and he's trying to do make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
He's Lamar Jackson is an average quarterback with an elite skill. And
Yeah,
they're just going to I think they have to build around that elite skill. I mean, and he's going to be great for fantasy. So, like, I think we need to bake more rushing in there. You know, for when it comes to Hurts, John, I just can't shake how awful he was in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
he also was playing hurt. He had that ankle injury, which really limited him. I'm okay being aggressive on Hurts. I'm gonna draft him a ton this year.
You know, the other thing with Lamar is, by the way, can my man get a rushing touchdown every once in a while here these days? Hello? When was the last time this dude scored on the ground?
He had 2 last year. Oh my God.
I mean,
wow.
I see
That's
a bunch
due to
of,
regress.
Yeah. He'll have
That's
more.
good.
I guess. I just see some red flags with Lamar. I don't know where to rank him. I don't think you guys do either. Kyler.
If you wanted to put Jalen Hurts ahead of him, I would have no problem. The guy
No,
We do
the guy
have
has
him ahead.
A.J. Brown.
I do.
Yeah, I just like him, you know, up above Burrow and Brady there. But
I'm doing the Brady.
I'm just looking at drafts. I am going to draft like these running quarterbacks. But here's the thing, John, and this alludes to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is not a running quarterback,
no,
Well,
You don't
I
run
his
know.
weapons are weaker.
and his weapons are weak. Like, I mean, they're not bad. I mean, but Gallup's hurt. Schultz is solid. Everybody's just like, oh my God, Jalen Tolbert. He's just going to come in, and I mean, the guy was a 3rd round pick. I mean, I know Michael Gallup was too, but like,
Gallup's hurt. Yeah,
Gallup's hurt, but that Prescott's a guy who, you know, I'll take Kyler over him easily. Just like
What about Prescott or Russ Wilson?
Prescott.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not loving Russ right now.
Yeah,
Prescott doesn't run, but he does score rushing touchdowns.
he does score. He does, because like
He only
which
had
is
one
fine.
last year, but you could say that was due to the coming back from the injury, and he should be healthier now. I do want to mention a quarterback I liked. I liked how aggressive you were on Derek Carr. A lot of the film experts I talked to have always said he's like severely underrated, one of the best, or like, just severely underrated. And then given that supporting cast, and it's hard not to get super excited.
And then you get Devontae Adams down at the goal line.
That's my guy this year, Carr. That's my value. Now, Joe and Tom will remember I was a big Carr apologist early in his career, and he kind of let me down. But then again, you guys like, probably top 5 in the NFL in passing yards the last 7 years.
The thing about Carr is you don't have to be aggressive with him in drafts.
Oh, no, that's why I think he's this year's Stafford, a guy who'll pile up the touchdown passes.
I don't think he's as good as Stafford, but I kind of agree with that from a fantasy perspective.
I mean, the fact that he's got 3 good receivers that he trusts incredibly I just can't understate that. I think it's huge. And you add in Josh McDaniels too. I think they'll be throwing a lot. I think they'll be a throw team. That's the strength of their team. Their O-line blocks better for the run. Their backs are good receivers, and they've got those 3 weapons in the passing game.
But I'm also looking down the board. I mean, I don't really have any other like serious like qualms here.
Trey Lance, we have to see. Like, I want to rank him higher for sure.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that was good. That came out yesterday. Shanahan said that they are looking to trade him. So that is I thought that was actually kind of a weirdly honest. I don't think so at all, Joe. I think they're trying to build the confidence of Lance. Like they're saying, Lance is our guy. I mean, that was a very positive thing.
You make
Shanahan's very, reserved with shit that he says too. For him to come out and say something like that, I think that's them trying to build up Lance a little bit.
And throw the word out, hey, Jimmy G could still be available in a trade.
Yes.
I wonder, like, this is low end, John. I wouldn't mind being a little more aggressive on Danny Jones. I know Scott said his schedule has improved, but for down here, he's somebody who runs.
Yeah, right? I would like him over Jameis. I just like. Do we really think that they're going to become like a pass heavy team now? Or like they were so run heavy last year.
Yeah, I've got him with. He's coming off I do have him with 35 attempts a game. That is kind of high.
Yeah. I would probably take Danny Jones in a best ball above like Ryan.
Yeah,
I think about him as like, okay, maybe he stinks, but at the same time, like he has had the worst supporting cast every single year of his career.
And awful coaching.
He's got this is the third offense in three.
I mean, right. I mean, look, we're going to put him in the 20s because the overwhelming evidence right now, if we're looking at Occam's razor, it's he stinks. Okay, like
right.
And
but we're picking in the early 20s here. Like, yeah.
Well, I've always been enamored with Daniel Jones's fantasy upside, but
honestly,
lately it's just the buys have just been so damn bad. I can't take it.
Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too, but I might move Zach Wilson.
I mean, Saquon's never been healthy. Evan Ingram has never been healthy. Sterling Shepard's never been healthy. Kenny Golladay wasn't healthy for extended periods. Kadarius Toney wasn't like these guys. Not only aren't they great, but like they just haven't been healthy.
Kenny Golladay fucking stinks though.
I've never liked Kenny Golladay.
He is like. Was there a a big ticket free agent signing this side of Albert Haynesworth, where as soon as that contract was inked, I was like, oh, that's going to be a disaster.
I felt similarly with Corey Davis to the Jets.
Yeah, he was a little better than Golladay.
Not a disaster, but it wasn't going to go well. They're going to have buyer's remorse.
Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because, like, in as much as I think we can say Daniel Jones probably does stink, I'm not sure we can say that about Zach Wilson yet.
Oh, I like Zach Wilson. I mean, I'll definitely move Jameis down. I don't really like Jameis much at all.
I'd rather have Zach Wilson than Tannehill on my fantasy team. Like, what is Tannehill going to get? Treylon Burks. I mean, the poor guy
has allergies.
He's like Windermere from Rookie of the Years. You ever see that guy, the Rookie of the Year?
No,
the baseball movie.
Oh, the movie. Yeah, I saw it once.
With the kid who Scott. You've never seen this?
No, what is it?
That kid was annoying.
Rookie of the Year. It's like where the kid breaks his arm and he becomes a pitcher for the Cubs. At the beginning of the game, he gets benched for Windermere. Who's a kind of kids playing outfield and he's just sneezing because he's got allergies, and the coach goes, "I don't want to hear about no asthma neither." And
I mean, I don't like Tannehill. I didn't like him last year.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot.
I think the Titans are going to be really bad this year. I think Henry's going to disappoint too.
You know what?
On that one.
On the very, very, very low end, I know I've never liked this guy, but he's got me a couple times because he was so cheap, and I backed him. I kind of think Mariota could do something, because how could Mariota not get 1.5 touchdown passes a game, given that those tall receivers and Arthur Smith?
Here's the thing, though, with Mariota, Desmond Ritter's playing this year.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if Ritter starts the most games by a rookie not named Pickett.
Yeah. Then, I mean, I don't see it as a rush to get him out there, but if Mariota can hold down the fort, what's the rush?
I want to get a look at him because they're going to be picking at the top of the draft, John.
Yeah,
they need to get an idea if he can play or not.
Right. So maybe I'll just
no, John, I don't disagree with you. Like, if you were to tell me Mariota starts 17 games, he's probably going to be decent for fantasy. I just don't think there's a chance in hell he starts 17 games unless somehow.
And I don't have him starting 17 games, by the way. I've got him only at 14.
13, I think,
yeah, unless he's like somehow turns into Russell Wilson. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
At the very least, John, he's only playing 13 games because they have a week 14 bye. There is no way in hell he's starting the last 4 games of the season. They're giving those all to Ritter starting week 15. So at the very least, he's getting 13 games.
I'll give a little bit more for Ritter and pull back a little from Mariota. That's fair.
Yeah, I was just talking this today on the Ross pod, and I was like, I think Ritter starts the second most games of the rookies. And, I know, John, speaking of, I don't think you need to move him up right now. I wouldn't be stunned. As a matter of fact, I'd probably put it at better than 50-50 that Pickett starts week 1.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You think so too, Tom?
Absolutely. I mean, they have a tough opening slate. I could see them throwing Trubisky to the Wolves there for, a couple games. But, yeah, by October, he's
Oh, that's true. You know what, John? I will say this. You have Corral pretty aggressively projected. Speaking of guys who freaking stink.
Oh, I don't like him much, but he stinks maybe, the intrigue of the
Darnold
unknown
stinks.
Because we know Darnold stinks.
Yeah, so no, Corral's going to play this year too.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Darnold does one of his dumbass moves, that Matt Rule's going to try to save his job.
The only issue with the quarterbacks is I'm really having problems, getting Burrow out of there. I mean,
well,
all
also,
my
John,
instincts say back
Yeah.
this MFer
yeah.
until he proves you wrong. Basically, like I'm kind of all in. I
Well,
feel
can we
like,
at least move Hurts and Jackson maybe above Brady? At least get.
Oh,
Those
yeah,
guys
I definitely have Brady
slid up.
down now.
Kyler, I'd definitely move Kyler above Prescott. I'd probably move Kyler above
I
Brady
did that.
too, frankly.
I did that.
I-
Now Kyler over Murray, yes or no? Or Kyler over Lamar. Sorry.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No.
I'd take Lamar.
Okay.
Let's still go.
These guys.
Oh,
are
John,
so damn close.
just housekeeping. I know this is extremely minor. Seahawks beat writers say Geno's the favorite to start.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I just hope and pray Baker goes there, but
Yeah, I didn't react to that. I maybe gave him a little bit more.
I cannot believe that's a quarterback battle in the year of our Lord 2022.
I know.
Geno,
It's going to be like a mutiny there.
All
All right. Well, I think we're pretty good at the quarterback. I think
I just had one more. Trevor Lawrence at QB 15.
love it.
I really think he might stink.
Oh, I think that's a horrible pick.
I'd rather be aggressive.
I really think he might stink.
I think Urban Meyer sucked ass so bad that maybe you could be tricked into thinking Trevor Lawrence stinks.
None of their additions give me a boner. I still think it's going to be a pretty bad offense. And it was one of the worst. It was one of the worst rookie quarterback seasons ever. Mac Jones was like kind of great.
Better than his stats.
Justin Fields, hypermobile.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the other thing though. Like, what did Fields or Lance show? Like, I mean,
right.
This
is a starting point too. Like,
that's all they need to show.
I will say this: these are starting point. These are placeholder spots for Lawrence, Tua, Lance, and Fields, and probably Zach Wilson and Danny Jones. I mean, these are guys that I can only do so much. Like, the closer we get to the season, I'm going to get a better feel.
I mean, this is how crazy it's gotten on Lawrence. First and foremost, he had the like maybe this side of Bobby Petrino, the single worst head coach in the history of the NFL, probably below Bobby Petrino. And dude, I was in a startup dynasty. He went after Malik Willis.
Jesus Christ!
Wow!
Like how stupid is that? Like,
Definitely
he was in an impossible spot. Like, you want to talk about?
So is Justin Fields. Adam Gase isn't much better.
I mean,
you mean Nagy?
No, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, but like I think Justin Fields. I think the ranking of Justin Fields is fair. I just think talk about noise here. I mean, that situation for Lawrence was so bad, and you can not be a Doug Peterson guy at all, but at the bare minimum, he's an average NFL coach, which is
Scott. If it makes you feel any better, I really do want to rank Trey Lance at 15 over Lawrence.
Oh yeah, it's just
so. If we see signs of life, I'll do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that either, John. But Lawrence, I mean, he's like, I'm getting him 19th, 20th quarterback off the board. And I am just still thinking, like, I don't know how we can confidently say about Trevor Lawrence after last year, like, oh my God, because, you watch some of the tape and you look at some of the people on Twitter who are like, dude, his pocket presence is incredible.
Yeah.
And like the offense just wasn't working for him. I understand it wasn't pretty last year, but it was by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I'm not.
I always go back to I had dinner. I was at a dinner party with AJ Feely, and apparently nobody else there at the party liked football. So I just talked with AJ Feely for 2 hours straight about the quarterback position, and he just kept going over all the things that can go wrong for you. We were talking about Sam Bradford because he'd backed up Bradford for the Rams at that point, and like just all the things that can go wrong, that you could be good as hell and no one would know it, and I think most of those things were going wrong for Lawrence.
Yeah, and I just think it's good that they pulled the plug on Meyer so quickly. Like
Greg Cosell said, watching the design of the offense, it's as if they're trying for him to fail. the play calls and the designs,
wow.
like no route combinations to scheme guys open at all, things like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, John, I mean, say what you want about Christian Kirk, and I have said plenty about Christian Kirk. He is a professional receiver. I mean, who can open things up and like. So,
They have quantity at the very least. They do have quantity at receiver. I don't know. We'll see. Do you like Tua more, Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tua's probably got a higher floor.
He's a little
Lawrence.
tough.
I don't mind that.
Again,
I'd
gonna let
rather be higher on Lawrence, but yeah, I mean, Tua certainly has the weapons and the better coaching, and
this is all vibe
I
stuff.
just don't-
I'm telling you, this is all summer vibe shit right here. If you recall last year, I said with the Giants, I said I'm going all vibes. Like I don't have any solid takes on the Giants until I see the vibes. We saw the vibes mid-August. I'm like, forget it, give it up. Take Sterling Shepard around 14 and Kadarius around 17. That's it. So I feel the same way about a lot of situations this year.
We should slide over to running backs.
Yeah, let's go to running backs here. And,
I gotta go pick up my
40 minutes
before
on
we
quarterbacks.
criticize the Javonte Williams ranking, understand people were worried about competition for Mr. John Taylor last year, and the cream rose to the top, and he's a star, and so is Javonte. So I think something similar could happen.
John, I have taken Javonte in multiple second rounds already. I'm not gonna. The only thing is I might move Mixon above him.
I mean, that's a tough one. That is a very tough one. Mixon does a little scare me a little bit with the contact.
I mean, Gordon is better than Samaje Perine, that's for sure.
They also don't use him enough in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know how the staff will use Javonte, but he was used more than Melvin last year.
I'm just like I'm sick to my stomach that we didn't get to see more Javonte because he's obviously good. It's just Melvin was better than we thought he was going to be last year. I mean,
which won't be the case this year. I doubt it.
No, I mean, I think we're looking more likely Javonte emerges as the guy. Yeah, I mean that. I don't have a serious issue with that.
It's like I'm telling you. To me, it's like Burrow. It's like don't overthink it. Is he really, 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 really good? Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. Is he 21 years old? 22? Yeah, he is. Is he with a good offense overall? Yeah. Don't overthink it. That's what I would say. But what else does everyone have? I have Dalvin Cook, Joe, over Javonte.
Yeah, Graham just wrote his stat pack for the NFC North. I don't know if that's up yet, but he. Like I'm just like I just think the upside is so much higher than the downside for Dalvin. I mean, we've seen him be the best back in fantasy. Like we have seen. Yeah,
and you can protect a little bit with Madison. That helps. To me, that helps.
I'm going down the board. I hate saying it because people just yell at you. I like taking Saquon in the third round. Like, I mean, and he's available there in underdog drafts. Like he really is.
I don't know if I like it, but
I don't willing to do it. Fuzzy when I do it, but like I'm like I don't know how I can. The offensive line is much better. The offense should be better just because they don't have a moron coaching them.
Oh yeah, the vibes are much better. I talked with Jordan Renan the other day, and he said he absolutely looks a little juicier, a little more sauce this year with Saquon. So
John,
I've been on this. I feel like we're. What's that?
You are going to be much. I know you're going to plant a flag here, but you're going to be much lower on James Conner than the industry is.
I'll sleep like a baby. I mean, that's just. I feel like it's fool's gold.
Yeah, I know I got crapped on by that last year. I don't think I took him once.
I know he killed me last year.
Yeah,
I mean, what are try and put yourself in a customer situation. I mean, what do you think a customer would rather us be? Aggressive on a young emerging star or down on a older guy? Like, what's going to stand out more? Like, they told me not to draft that old guy, those bastards. But who I'm
going to draft a lot of in best ball is Darrell Williams.
Well, I don't think I tweak.
Yeah, you didn't put Darryl in the projection.
Right. I forgot. Yeah, it just happened yesterday.
So I would move him. You currently have Keontae Ingram at 53 and Eno Benjamin at 66.
I have to redo all that.
I would probably slot Darryl at like 53, almost where you have Keontae Ingram.
For sure. Yeah, because I'm giving Darryl. He does. I'm giving Darryl all of Eno's catches because before this signing, Eno looked like as a factor on third down for sure, and now he's screwed. But yeah, so I'm going to give Keon. Let's see, 190. I think you could give Darrell Williams 90 carries and 39 catches.
Mm-hmm. I think he'll play too. He's a good back. Like he's just one of those no nonsense kind of guys. I'm just going through. I don't mind being aggressive on ETN because he's getting drafted in like a total dead zone, and I'll just bet on the upside there.
Oh yeah, that's a slam dunk.
These look pretty clean.
I don't like Zeke, by the way, but we have him. I have no idea, honestly, what to do with Zeke. I mean,
it's just like it feels like the fantasy community is doing the whole Jeff Janis thing, screaming about Tony Pollard, and like the Cowboys just don't play him the way people want them to. But I mean, this is finally the first year where I think I'd rather draft Tony Pollard than Zeke.
I feel really good about Zeke. He's someone I like a lot. He played through 80% of the season with a torn PCL, and Tony Pollard still couldn't get more than 35% of the snaps.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't think he's ever going to be a thing. Like, there's just guys who coaches are like, yeah, he can't handle a full workload. Barring like one game or two games, Zeke misses, like he's just a pure handcuff to me.
We are ahead of
Jerry's still running the ship. He wants him to play. Yeah. They gave him all that money. They want him
exactly.
To play.
We are still ahead of the markets on Zeke, so I that's actually kind of good. We're kind of rooting for him because I had no interest in like the projection, the ranking. Like I wasn't doing the ranking. I'm like, here's what I think he'll do, like minimally. 215 carries, 8 rushing touchdowns, 42 grabs, all that. And he comes in at RB 18 and ADP is 21. So we're ahead of the markets at least.
John, one thing I want to do is I want to squeeze Singletary and James Cook.
Yeah, well, Scott, you're Mr. Bell Cow. I could see Cook being frustrating. I mean, you need kind of everything going well.
I think that's the thing is I don't think there is a bell cow. So like neither one is all that interesting to me.
I am, by the way, moving Gibson down a little bit further.
Yeah, I would.
Because of fucking Ron Rivera's comments yesterday.
Yeah.
Not good.
Oh, and this is so minor, but they're hyping up McKissick on their Twitter account. And of course, it was a bad throw by Wentz. But he had to make
McKissick is dead. McKissick is dead.
Yeah, Wentz is going to kill him. Let's see. How are we all feeling about these Edwards-Helaire comments that he made on this podcast?
Oh, what did he say? Because I just looking at this, I kind of want him a little higher.
He said his gallbladder stopped functioning.
And he was 160 pounds.
He fell to 165 pounds.
Well, I've been on him. I have liked him all off season.
Yeah,
the market.
I kind of think we should get a little higher on him.
I'm fine with that.
Move
Tom,
him up where
because guess
Singletary is, and
we were ahead of the markets.
I want to move Singletary down.
We were ahead of the markets the whole way.
We know he stinks. Now Daryl's out of the picture to steal third down snaps.
You got Rojo though.
Yeah. Rojo's not going to play third down. He's not going to take passing work. Maybe he's actually involved in the passing game with Tyreek Hill gone.
Rojo might get carries. We know he is a god awful receiver. He's terrible.
Yeah, and that is why I have Edwards-Helaire with 45 catches.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So I know it's like. There are two guys who I just like for some reason every year you're like, now I'm going to at least this year I was like, Edwards-Helaire, I'm going to quit on him. Like Miles Sanders, I'm done with him. And then the entire market is everybody's done with him.
Right.
Therefore, I'm like, well, all right, there's Miles Sanders in the 8th round again,
I've been eyeballing Sanders again because I ended the season thinking the same thing.
I hate it so much, but they have the best offensive line in the sport.
But what I've said about Edwards-Helaire, and because I put him in all my value articles that I've done thus far, is it's one of those. I do love a third-year running back who's still 23. That I love, and it's one of these, and I said this about Mixon last year. If he's ever going to do it, it's got to be now. It's got to be right now.
Yeah.
So
he's first round pick as well. So they got to make a decision if they're going to give him the 5th year next off season. So he's got to have some sort of motivation.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Maybe we could do a make good on over pumping him up his rookie year by getting him this year if he does well.
Yeah.
Say, hey, there you go, there's a make good.
I found myself, if I go one running back, first couple of rounds, 6th, 7th round, I'll draft Edwards-Helaire. I think his price is pretty appealing right now.
I agree.
You know what's kind of funny, guys, on the lower end, and I know we're jumping around here. This Dolphins backfield, I was like, I'm not getting involved in this bullshit. And now all of their running backs are double-digit round picks. And they're going to run the ball. So might as well take a shot, right? I mean, you can get Chase Edmonds as your 4th running back right now.
That would be number 1 because they're paying him the most.
You can get Michelle as your last running back.
That would be the second most appealing one, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mostert, I know he's explosive. I mean, I don't mind taking a shot on Mostert because he's so cheap, but I don't know. I was not planning on dabbling in this backfield at all, and now all of them are available in the 10th round or later.
And Mike McDaniels is coaching them.
Yeah, right. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is going to work out for the Raiders.
How about the Seahawks?
Oh my God! Please. But Pete was publicly supporting him, but doesn't want to sign him. But who's the Raiders' backup quarterback? Didn't they just trade for one?
They just traded for Stidham.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Jared
Stidham.
John, I want to squeeze Singletary because that was the pass heaviest offense in football last year. And I've
got him at 40 catches. I feel like that's a pretty optimistic.
You've got Singletary with a couple too many.
What's that?
I think you've got Singletary with a couple too many. And Cook was a 2nd round pick.
You want Singletary down? Okay.
Oh yeah,
not necessarily Cook up. Okay.
Yeah, his receiving, I would knock a couple catches on. I don't think they think he stinks as a receiver, so they're gonna give Cook those opportunities.
Scott, what do you think about the Patriots backfield? Because there always seems to be a value in it every year. It's just that finding that value is horrible.
Yeah, I really have no idea. I wrote up 5 sentences in my article and then I just deleted it all. I have no gauge. I think it's going to be Damian Harris RB1A, Ramondre RB1B, but I liked Ramondre so much coming out. It wouldn't shock me if he supplants him. I think James White is probably a really good best ball value. There's also a chance, Belichick just cuts him. He's not great. He's fully healthy coming off an injury, but
guaranteed on his deal.
I don't love Damian Harris, but they do love him. And they do really, really, really trust him. And so he's still their goal line guy.
They never play him on passing downs. But he's a touchdown guy. And
the way Adam was talking about him on the town hall, they view him as kind of the volume guy, and Ramondre is the slasher. Come in 8 to 10 carries, but if Ramondre ever got the volume, he'd be scary.
I could see those roles being reversed. I could see you look at the two dudes and all right, Ramondre is a volume guy and Harris is the change-up type of guy. Am I crazy? Or doesn't Damian Harris strike you as a little bit more of a 1A type or 1B than a 1A? I don't know. I guess it depends on who he's teamed with.
I think he's
Ramondre was a really accomplished pass catcher in college as well. At least his final season.
In that role last year too.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just Bill Belichick. It's going to be a 3-way committee where 2 guys split the early down work, unless Ramondre really is the Garrett Blunt 2.0.
And here's the thing about them is they drafted 2 backs. Now, do I think Kevin Harris is going to play it all? No, but
no.
Scott, you're right about James.
This is them getting ready for next year, and Harris, leaves.
Or, plus special teams, which is important to.
Yes.
I was shocked to learn and remember that James White, and I remember we loved him because we knew he was a great receiver and he was good in pass pro. And
he didn't play right away though. Yeah,
he did. He was like a red shirt his rookie year. Did he get hurt?
Did they still have? Who did they have in 24? He played 3 games, John. He caught 5 passes, and he had 9 carries in 2014. And then the next year, he caught 40 passes. So like they literally.
Shane Vereen was.
Vereen! Oh my God, I forgot about him.
He was pretty good in that role too.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys saw. Matty Patty is the calling the run plays at OTAs and running the offensive line, so we might want to be a little lower on all the running backs for the Patriots.
Oh yeah, Matty Patty. If Matty Patty's involved, then get the hell out of that business, Mr. Pencil Ear. Anything else for running back?
Well, yeah. One question: Cordarrelle Patterson, RB 33. I mean, I know we all saw what he did, especially in the first half, and like it didn't seem sustainable, but. They added one guy, a guy I liked, Tyler Algier, and then in the post-draft press conference, they were like, "We drafted him for special teams."
Oh,
Algier?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They need somebody to get carries there.
I talked with Dear
There's
Orlando
just not
Ledbetter
much
yesterday.
serious competition there, and even if he just is the primary pass catcher, like there's value in that. And
I wouldn't mind bumping up Cordarrelle Patterson a couple of spots, but like
his receptions. What was he at last year?
I think my total was about what he had last year.
Yeah,
he was 52 for 548 last year. And, I could see him being actually more involved as a receiver than as a runner this year.
I mean, he's impossible.
I
will say, Dear Orlando Ledbetter, I talked with him yesterday, and he fully signed off on Tyler Algier being a considerable portion of their rushing attack. And he confirmed that, Arthur Smith, we're going to do a Sir Mix-a-Lot type of thing because Arthur Smith likes big butts and he likes big dudes at running back and receiver.
They have a hype.
He's thick. He is thick.
Yeah. And D'Orlando did alert us and me to Cordarrelle last summer, and I didn't fully buy it. I will admit I did not fully buy it, and D'Orlando was on that crap.
I just want to say I'm going to be like way higher on Leonard Fournette. Just the role he had at the tail end of last season was like Christian McCaffrey-esque, just like insanely valuable on one of the most potent offenses in football. And then stay on top of the Deshaun Watson suspension because, let's say it's 6 games, whatever, minus those 6 games, I think Nick Chubb is going to be a top 4 fantasy running back the remainder. It's just they're going to have a lot of red zone drives, a lot of touchdowns, really good efficiency, sustained drives, positive game script, which is what he's always lacked. Like in that committee with Kareem Hunt, he's been so game scripts sensitive, and with a superior quarterback, the offensive environment, he should
Kareem Hunt would freaking go
because he's like Derrick Henry to me, Nick Chubb. Obviously, you can't compare anyone to Derrick Henry, but just like efficiency numbers, like unreal relative to volume.
But he has, that said, he has underwhelmed really.
Yeah, he really has for fantasy. Like, I mean, he has
the different.
Well, because Baker Mayfield was his quarterback, so we get an offense that actually can get the ball vertical and open things up.
But here's the question though: is how many games will that happen this year?
Well, we don't.
he has the Derrick Henry efficiency, which no one else has. He just doesn't have the Derrick Henry volume. But I think with Deshaun Watson and better game script, more volume's going to come, and he has that upside in his range of outcomes easily.
I'll move him up over Fournette. I'm okay with that.
I mean, you could wait and see what the suspension is if it's a full.
Yeah, I'm actually.
No, I think Chubb is kind of in the right in the pretty.
I think you're totally fine. Like, because I think Chubb is almost one of the biggest disconnect reality to fantasy guys there is, because I watch the guy and I'm like, this guy's the best running back in pro football, and the fantasy is just like so inconsistent. Now the question that's interesting is Jacoby Brissett. Baker's never playing it down for them again. They can keep him all they want, but he's not. Jacoby Brissett's the guy who's the backup there now, right? Like Jacoby Brissett has started 30 NFL games. He's averaging under 200 yards passing per start in the NFL.
He's also vulturing some touchdowns, but
yeah, that's true too. Like, so, they're going to run the ball when Watson isn't. So I think you can look at it from that angle too.
We're priced right at the market with him.
I'm totally fine where we have him.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine where we have him.
We can move over to wide receivers.
I would move Patterson up a couple bumps there, John.
Couple C's.
Let's move up. Let's go to wideouts because.
All right, John.
This is where you're going to have your bet because
we need to do a bet because
I'm ready.
You have Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1, and Vanilla Rice, Cooper Kupp. If you shaved 55 yards per game off of his average, he still would have finished as the overall wide receiver 1. And Adam Thielen, by the way, is a guy I'm drafting everywhere. So really disagree with this take. I think Cooper Kupp is just the guy, and he's going to be the guy for however long he stays healthy.
Did the news that he could be the Cooper Kupp of the Viking offense change your mind at all in Justin Jefferson? Remember coming out.
The Cooper Kupp is already the Cooper Kupp of football. But okay, what were you saying?
Well, I mean, that is one little angle there that they want him to essentially, O'Connell wants him to be the Kupp. He can line up inside. He did. Right. I mean, I don't think he likes it, but look, and again, once again, this comes down to, in my experience, don't overthink it. Is Justin Jefferson a superstar? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Is he the clear go-to guy on his team? Yes, he is. Is he 23 years old? Yes, he is. Cooper Kupp is 28. Let's go. Let's go, Scott. What do you got? Stakes-wise.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I mean, everything you just said of Justin Jefferson is true of Cooper Kupp, who just did it, who just posted the best fantasy football season ever. Where, again, there's a long way to fall from Justin Jefferson, from Cooper Kupp to Justin Jefferson. 55 yards per game. You throw 55 yards per game out, he was still the wide receiver 1. So, don't come at me with regression when we're talking that far of a gap. I love Justin Jefferson. It's just, the offense is way better in Los Angeles. Kupp talent, he just did it. He did something only ever Jerry Rice has come close to. So I just can't get on board with taking anyone else above him.
When was the last time, a guy had that big of a year and followed it up with that big of a year?
Antonio Brown did it a number of seasons in a row. Yeah. Devontae Adams is basically.
This one's splitting. I have Kupp wide receiver 1, but I'll be happy if I leave my draft with either guy. And honestly, I've been loving Jamar Chase at 5th overall. Frankly,
I'm kind of more into finding the next breakout ascending superstar than paying a premium for the guy who did it last year, who's 5 to 6 years older.
Well, you're not paying a premium. You're drafting him where he finished. Yeah. My question to you is, okay, you want to be on the next guy. Why not Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase had the better rookie season. Jamar Chase was better their final year together at LSU, and he was younger. Joe Burrow, who you love, over Kirky.
Well, that's a target share thing. You gotta love how the Viking offense is really boiled down. They're gonna run the crap out of it with Dalvin, and it's Jefferson all day long.
They're my favorite fantasy offense to break down. Well, actually, the Bengals are pretty good, too, because the Bengals don't, with the exception of Samaje Perine, the Bengals don't get the ball to Scrubs, which is really great. But the Vikings don't either. They had KJ Osborne was kind of ended up being a pretty good number 3 receiver. But I love talking about, I both loved and hated talking about the Vikings on, the Ross podcast every week, because I say the same thing every week. They've got Thielen, they've got Jefferson, they've got Cook, and you start them all, and then if Cousins has a good matchup, then you start him. They're the easiest team to break down. And but
the age is a factor too. Jefferson, by the way, is big year. He is gunning for a massive payday in 2023. I can't get past a 23-year-old stud who is absolutely proven that he can't be stopped.
Honestly, you're paying a premium for both of them. If we're talking premium, they're both top 5 picks in fantasy. So, justifiably so, I'll have you know. I just you guys got to put stake on it on the show or something because.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
We could do the Waffle House challenge. We could do
Oh God.
embarrassing Twitter avatar. We'll
I'm a little too old to be doing like humiliating things in public like that. So
fair, yeah.
I'd rather go money and like double it up or give you odds or something.
All right, we'll figure it out. Well, I'd have to give you odds, but
yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other guys. Just like a quick one. Deebo Samuel 5. I think the holdout risk there, it like doesn't make sense to have him so high, and then Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper so low. Like just the risk of him holding out into the season or being traded.
So you want Cooper lower?
Higher.
Deebo. What did I say?
Well, no, you said
Amari
Deebo, then Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper higher, Deshaun Watson higher, or Deebo lower. Probably Deebo lower, just because of the holdout risk.
Yeah, that's.
Deebo
I think
does
that's
worry me,
minor.
John. You know, Trey Lance potentially starting. Like, there's not going to be.
I think
as much volume in the passing game.
Put Diggs and Lamb above Deebo at this point.
And he's posturing that he doesn't want to be used as this wide back anymore. Like Deebo does scare me a little bit.
I mean, look, it's a.
I'd at least slide him below Lamb.
Yeah,
Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel.
No,
here's something profound. Is the most difficult wide receiver projection in my 28-year career this year. Like there. And Cordarrelle's second at running back, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, it's impossible. It's literally impossible. So don't forget, I actually asked Kyle Shanahan 2020. I said, am I crazy, coach? Or did you like unlock like only like 30% of Deebo? He's like, yeah. Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
unlocked him.
Yeah, I'd move Deebo down just like with he's not at camp.
Let's talk Gabriel Davis, Joe.
You're not moving me off of this one. You're not moving me. I freaking love Gabe Davis. I love him.
So the pro argument is Adam Kaplan has told us ever since he was drafted, every 3 months without fail, the team loves him. He's super smart. He's killing it. They're cross-training him at every single wide receiver position. The counter argument is he couldn't play above a 33-year-old Cole Beasley, a 35-year-old Emmanuel Sanders, none of which were good. He had one good game. And it's like, okay, this reminds me of Adam Thielen, his breakout year. He had that massive game against Green Bay, great vibes. They signed him to that big contract. They were hyping him up, and I drafted him everywhere. He was going round 10. Gabriel Davis, there's not really any discount on Gabriel Davis. We have him wide receiver 22, and it's just like, the offense is awesome. Like I get it, but it just seems kind of risky. But it's worth a discussion.
That's like a guru call there. I mean, I'm way up here. But
this isn't John. I was literally about to say this is an old school John kind of call. Like
it almost always works.
Yeah, it's just okay. So here's what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to add this up right now. Over his last. Let me do this. You guys.
How about this, Scott? Gabe Davis has scored a touchdown on 12% of his targets in his career. He has scored.
You have to be careful with those per target efficiency stats for a guy who wasn't a full-time player. I will just say, like, I kind of instinctually want to just like stack my money and like keep that profit because, you know, week 20 last year, I was the one who was like, this is finally the Gabriel Davis week, and you guys fought me, so now it's a reversal.
I remember that, but I think there were Sanders was not a lot. I had to account for Sanders, that kind of a thing. But I will say too about last year, I actually drafted him in the ACI. I saw some great things in the one game that the preseason that Allen played and Gabe. I was like, wow, they're really feeling it. I drafted him, so I watched it. He did get hurt earlier in the year. You probably don't know it on the game logs, but I believe he was playing hurt for about a month in the middle of the season, like week 4 through like week 8 or something. But just throwing it out there. I've run it up multiple flagpoles, by the way, with Bill's beat writers, and none of them are really railing against the Gabe Davis love.
I mean, I just almost feel like, you know, I don't disagree with Scott, but he did then play at least 70% of the snaps in
because
the final
Sanders was hurt.
6
But
games.
Yeah.
And like he kind of acquitted himself pretty well. There was the weird game. I think it was the Bills and the what was it? The Bills and the Jets in week 18. Allen wasn't sharp. He had 14 targets and he caught only 3 of them. But like, I mean, at that point, like, all right, so he plays 80% or 70% or more snaps in 4 of the final 6 games, and he scores in he plays 70% or more snaps in the last 6 games of the year. He didn't even get to 60 in any game before that, and he scores in 4 of those 6 games. Like,
Yeah,
even
he
if
scored
you
eight touchdowns total in 6 games.
yeah, I mean, even if you pull away the fact
19.8
that he
fantasy
had,
points per game.
If Gabe Davis catches a ball in the NFL, 21% chances for a touchdown right now. That's pretty good.
Okay. Well, here's some easier things to fight about. I think Chris Godwin, we're way too high on. There's a really good chance he's going to miss half of the season.
that reminded me, Scott.
We're
too.
actually well below market on him, but yeah.
I
I don't mind bumping him.
T. Higgins
But
had
what Kaplan
shoulder
said,
surgery.
that was a clean tear, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
T. Higgins had
about
shoulder
half the
surgery,
season.
by the way,
Yeah.
in March. And there is a shot, according to Edwin, that it leaks into the season for T. Higgins.
Wow.
Now, you remember, John, Alshon Jeffrey in 2017 played through a torn rotator cuff the entire year.
He was good that year, though.
He was good that year. But he was great in the Super Bowl. But he had to delay his surgery until after the Super Bowl, and he missed the first 3 games of the season. Now,
by the way,
is different because it's a labrum, not a rotator cuff, but it's a 5-6 month recovery.
well, I'll move him down a little bit because he's been a tough projection. I'll move AJ Brown over him, but I will say back to Burrow. It does remind me of that year where I loved Matt Ryan. He was like my guy that year, and he won the MVP. And
Yeah.
I was like, you got Julio and Roddy in the top 12. Who the hell's throwing the ball? Burrow's the only dude who's got 2 wide receivers in the consensus top 12 this year.
Wasn't he the original Mr. Every Other Year, by the way?
Oh,
Matt Ryan?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
So
way,
it wasn't just dumping on Chris Godwin, but Russell Gage is like maybe my number 1 must draft wide receiver. Well, him and Antonio Brown. We don't have to debate about that one, but Russell Gage just he was awesome last year. This is Greg Cosell's guy. He had the toughest cornerback schedule last year of any slot wide receiver by far. He was awesome in average to above average matchups. Tom Brady personally recruited him. The Byron Leftwich scheme runs through the slot wide receiver. Tom Brady historically peppers his slot wide receiver with targets. I think he's going to absolutely smash.
I'd move Gage up, John. I'd have him probably above at the bare minimum Tyler Boyd. I don't
love him. I don't love him though. I'll tell you why. What if Godwin comes back and they decide they want him in the slot because he's best in the slot?
I think they're going to change him. They're going to.
He's Tampa Bay supported 3 wide receiver 1s last year. 3. And so, hey, he could still be a wide receier 1, even if he's not in the slot.
I like moving Gage up. I like moving him up.
I think it's more likely that Godwin moves outside. But
I'll move him up. I mean, I feel like my numbers are very fair right now. I get 64 grabs, 825 will do.
I think he smashes. I think he goes nuts.
Yeah,
I'm not really seeing it, but we'll see.
I think he's just a great guy to have on a roster. Like I really do.
I think he might be the type of a guy.
If you move Godwin down a little bit, which we probably should.
I mean, we're 5 spots below the
Yeah,
market.
that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like Russell Gage is a guy that, like if you have a really thin receiving core, you're like, all right, yeah, we'll throw out the Russell Gage.
I think that's who he's been. I think with Tom Brady it's different. You said move him up 5 spots ahead of consensus. I'm legitimately like 25 spots ahead of consensus.
Wow.
The guy I talked to, by the way, who won the Best Ball Mania last year, said Russell Gage is his most drafted player this year.
Yeah, smart.
And John,
That's
saw
gonna
this.
Be interesting.
I saw this independently because I remember I put a Twitter poll out right after free agency And I was like, who would you rather have straight up for fantasy? And this is going to be funny based on your rankings. Russell Gage or Robert Woods? And it was a 50-50 Twitter poll. And I was like, I'm taking Gage 10 times out of 10 in that instance. Like,
sure.
And you do have Gage above Woods. You have him one spot ahead. But
by the way, not for nothing, I know it's a weird name. I think that Cyril Grayson kid is really intriguing.
He's a gadget guy, though. I think.
I have sources on him. My buddy is like friends with him, interviewed him a few times, and he got an offer to go somewhere else. He was like, "Nah, dude, I'm going to stay in Tampa Bay. I think Tommy really likes me."
Yeah,
and this was the year before last, so probably true.
No,
I had to look up, John. Do you know Gage's guaranteed money that he got? You know how cap strapped the Buccaneers were this offseason. They gave him $20 million guaranteed. They have huge plans for him.
Yeah, we should, John.
Tommy personally recruited him, called him up on the phone, and said,
"That's exactly what happened." They were, struggling to keep their guys in town, and they went out and got Gage for $20 million. He was so sick of throwing to Tyler Johnson. He said, "Get this kid that we go against twice a year from Atlanta. Go get him."
I guarantee you, he sees Welker and Edelman in him. That type of receiver.
Oh boy.
I don't think he's going to catch 100 passes, but
no.
I mean, he's that. I would move him up pretty aggressively. Like I'm with like that's the kind of guy we can recommend our subscribers get.
He's easy to get.
Like,
he's going 100 picks in.
And
we put him at wide receiver 41 above Lazard. Like,
that's where I did, Tom.
We
fine.
tell our guys,
fine.
and let's see. To me, also, that's like a no risk recommendation because you can tell your guys draft Russell Gage in the 9th round of your home league in every league, and if he doesn't do it, it doesn't hurt you. And like,
I'm still a little scarred from seeing so many receivers fail with Brady. New to the team and all that.
I mean, yeah. Oh God. Oh, Hogan. Oh God. He was so good in that Super Bowl against the Eagles.
Which is why Brady left. He was sick of the Patriots not being able to get good receivers for him, so he went to Tampa where they had the 2 awesome ones already. Yeah. So
you guys taking Russell Gage over Tyler Lockett, by the way?
I think we're really low on Tyler Lockett. That one kind of
I would still take
especially
Lockett
for
over
best ball.
Yeah,
where he's so high variant in a good way. But there's massive boom weeks.
I mean, I think it's simple. Their quarterback's awful. Like,
yeah, but he has an arm, and like that's what Pete Carroll wants to run the offense through is like run, deep shot, run, deep shot.
I really hope Baker goes there.
I think whenever Geno was at quarterback, Lockett I think it was Lockett that was the one that was playing really well, and Metcalf was.
I think you're right.
So
Metcalf had the 3 touchdown game, and I think
outside of that he was pretty miserable.
Right? Okay.
Metcalf killed me last year.
That sounds right.
He freaking killed me last year. I
don't really like DK. I think he's limited.
I'll pass on him for other.
I'm done. I'm done with DK. When Hunter Renfrow outproduces your ass, looking the way he does, I'm out. Sorry, DK.
More like DK'd Metcalf.
Yeah.
Another one that kind of bothers me is Sky Moore at wide receiver 32. I just don't know that he's really that good. 12 wide receivers got drafted ahead of him, and then we have him above Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore, I love, and Adam Thielen, wide receiver 35. That's someone I really want to flag plan for. And you guys are gonna make fun of me in a second. So just give me a second. Really have to give him the injury discount. If you just end his season at whenever he was injured, he's finished over the last 5 seasons 11th, 7th, 7th, 11th, and 7th in fantasy points. And he's being drafted as a wide receiver 4. And here's where you're going to make fun of me. I listened to a podcast. I have this thing called Whoop, and they did an interview with Adam Thielen, and he was like, no, you don't understand. This is a fluky injury. It was an ankle. It couldn't have been avoided. It wasn't soft tissue. It was just the way I was tackled. Anyone would have suffered that injury. But I was in the best shape of my life. I was the fastest I've ever been. And he was like, no, don't laugh. Don't it's true. I know that's not believable, but really the fastest I've ever been, the best shape of my life. I don't know. I'm just so bullish on this guy who I've always maintained is one of the best wide receivers in football.
I will say this, John. I was planning on being out on Thielen with the whole, and I still think it's true. It was the whole a year. I'd rather be a year too early than a year too late. But everybody has decided they're out on Thielen this year.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's an
he was like a late third, early fourth, and now he's like a 7th or 8th round pick now, and he was playing.
If he was a 5th round pick this year, I wouldn't be drafting Adam Thielen. But he's not.
Even that ankle injury, he tried, because remember they were in the thick of the playoff race. He came back probably a game too early, and he screwed it up, and it just he couldn't play the last 3 games of the year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely way high on Sky Moore. That's something I've kind of isolated.
I think you can move him down 4 or 5 spots and still get the same effect.
Exactly. Okay, that's fine. I'll do that.
I mean, but I do like the situation for Sky Moore. By the way, Cosell loved him.
I talked with Adam Schefter on the air, and I brought him up, and Adam said that everyone he talks to loves him. Everyone loves him.
And his spoonerism sounds like an app. My score.
What's
that's
your credit score. Yeah.
Yeah, go to my score.
He's a great kid though, man.
Sounds like something Ross would be hawking on the podcast. You know what else is great, Joe? My score.
Memorial Day weekend coming up, Joe. My score.
What do we think, by the way, of McLaurin vis-a-vis Dot? That there's starting to be just a tiny itsy bitsy spider bit of McLaurin trade buzz, which I don't think is going to happen.
I literally have no idea what to do with McLaurin.
I'm not feeling it.
Nonetheless, John. By the way, John, perfect ranking.
Samuel looks good.
Brandon Cooks is the most.
I love the Brandon Cooks one. Yeah, that's one guy I've been above. I was above on him last year too.
Oh, I was not.
I think I would take. I know we should hate Hollywood because of but I think I'd take Hollywood over McLaurin. And I just think
tough for me.
Don't you think it's weird that Kaplan keeps saying and on the air that McLaurin basically saying I got to play X, man. I don't want to play anywhere else.
I wonder
what's up with that?
I wonder if he's I don't know. Does he want on the outs? I don't know. It's weird. I was starting to look into it.
Well, the way they were talking, it sounds like they're going to get a deal. I forget who I was reading.
I think it's more likely than not they'll get.
Oh no, I think it was something even Rivera said in his press.
Almost like a PR thing. They can't afford any more bad PR. People love McLaurin, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I think Dotson probably won't do all that much.
No,
but
I have a feeling all the receivers aren't going to do anything, and we're going to be, they're all going to kind of.
I'm not feeling it.
If Samuel stays healthy, Thomas is coming back from an ACL, I don't know.
And maybe and
they're drafted running backs.
Maybe my opinion of McLaurin is off, just because you haven't seen him in a functional offense with a good quarterback. It's almost like street ball. Just throw it up, throw him a hospital ball, and I'll go get it. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I think we're good.
Losing sound
now.
Yeah, I'm looking through now. There's so many of these are so tight, and I'm like, oh my god, John, it looks like you're low on this guy, and then he's right in line with ADP. It's just there's so many guys this year. You're low on Olave. I don't really mind that at all, by the way.
The markets are, I'm telling you, there have been a number of slottings that look really good 2 weeks ago, but the markets have caught up. It's almost like I'm talking these guys up on the damn radio, and people are drafting them and affecting the damn ADP. I don't know what else is going on, but I'm telling you, there's been some movement this year.
Do you think Jarvis is washed? Is that why you have him so low?
I don't see a path to any real relevancy here. It's a projection that is somewhat low pending the summer and, everything, but I don't know. Does anyone else, is it worth it? I don't see what the payoff is.
I'm not drafting.
The guy I'd rather you have him above him. Crowder is that was one where I think maybe we were talking about Gabe Davis earlier, but Greg seemed to be drooling over the possibility of Crowder playing without him because Beasley is just sit down slot receiver. Crowder is so much more. I mean, injuries are always an issue with him, but
no doubt.
When he's on the field, he's going to be getting like 6 to 8 targets a game.
I've always been a Crowder guy.
I know you have.
Yeah, I always have been, but it's tough, man. If the vibes are if he's looking good and the vibes are good, I'll bump him up. I absolutely will. But is he below Landry?
Yeah, he's above. He's
above. Okay, yeah. I will say I'll move him over frickin' Hardman right now because I'd rather quit playing fantasy football than to draft McCole Hardman.
By the way, John, AJ Green was better with Hopkins in the lineup than without him last year.
Well, there's another impossible ranking, by the way.
I like where you have David Bell, quite frankly. He's going to play right away.
Yeah. I think we're actually a little low on pretty much all the rookies. Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Jahan Dotson, Chris Olave. They're all going to play right away. Good upside. Definitely have them all above Sky Moore. Also, Kadarius Toney in that range. Just like weird vibes for sure, but just when a rookie wide receiver ranks top 6 in yards per route run, I can't not chase that upside.
Oh, I love freaking Toney. That's another one where the vibes a little bit, I can move him up just a little right now. I will say, I've been pretty aggressive on the rookies. I'm not feeling it with Burks. I'm not really feeling it with London.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
By the way,
they're tripping over themselves to draft him as the wide receiver 1 in this offense, but I did not see an NFL ready wide receiver, and I had massive concerns.
I had Garrett Wilson 1 pre-draft. I think he's a very, from what he looks like a really pretty clean prospect, but I just also look at him this year where is he gonna? I almost look at the 63 catches, I don't see it. Elijah
Barrios is even going to be a fact. They got 4 deep at receiver. It's a little tough.
Exactly. What happens if it's Corey Davis and Eli Moore sliding in a little Barrios early on? Oh, and we're going to throw these 2 tight ends.
They can play more 2 tight end sets. Get only 2 wide receivers.
Have you come around on Drake London at all? Just because, if you read what Greg has said, his main concerns, I don't know that he can gain separation on the outside. I don't know how much that matters in Atlanta, where they're devoid of talent everywhere, so he could just be the starting slot wide receiver.
Well, the thing about London that I was looking at, Scott, and I'm trying to because Greg colors my opinion so much. By the way, I talked to somebody. Did I tell you this, Scott? I talked to somebody who it was not Greg, who I really respect, and you guys all know. Do you know what his comparison for Drake London was?
Oh, you did tell me this. Was it Hakeem Butler?
Hakeem Butler.
Right.
Yeah.
I keep going against Greg on wide receivers, and I don't feel great about it, but it's perfectly in line with draft capital.
With London, though, is even if he's not that great, and first and foremost, their quarterback's not any good. So let's put that there. Jordan Matthews and Kelvin Benjamin stunk, and they caught a lot of passes their first couple years in the league. So I think it's possible that he stinks, and I don't want to say the guy stinks. He was a top 10 pick. We haven't seen him, but the thing is though that I wonder is, does he even play X here, or does Kyle Pitts play X?
I could tell you, you know who's going to be the AJ Brown? Yes, Brian Edwards.
Oh God in heaven!
He's gonna be the Terrell Owens / Randy Moss.
He's gonna be the one cut at the end of training camp.
Well, no, that's the Orlando Ledbetter did tell me that yesterday.
No,
wow,
no.
He's it's gonna be their AJ Brown.
I honestly, John, I've drafted him as my wide receiver 8 in my last 2 best ball drafts.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's not that bad. He's not that bad.
I like the trade because the evidence is that he probably does stink, but their receivers all stink, so might as well give him a shot.
The guy's averaging 17 yards a catch on 48
John,
catches.
Here's one. We are way too low on MVS. way too low.
Oh, that's right.
They paid him more than Juju. Like, I'd take a decent chunk out of Sky Moore and give it to MVS. They gave MVS $30 million.
Yeah, I can't stand him either,
I mean, he can fly. And, like, here's the thing. Even with his drop issues, Rodgers still kept going to bat for that guy.
I'm writing this shit down, and I'm never forgetting these discrepancies. This is going to be a battle royale to see who comes out on top.
I think we're way too low. I think this is going to sound ridiculous based on the kind of player that he's been in his career. I think MVS has a shot to clear 1,000 yards this season, and we have him way too low. Like, that's a guy I'll take. Just, you want to talk situation? That's the guy I'll take because of the situation all day long.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's also a new guy on a team with a million moving parts. So I move him up, but it is a little bit of a wait and see on that.
Yeah, we're way too low on him. I'd have him above ADP, and we have him 10 spots below.
I think MVS is Kansas City's wide receiver 1. That's how I draft it.
Yeah, let me look at his contract. That one stood out to me, and I'm really glad we got to it because that one I think is just... I
mean, Kaplan hasn't mentioned him at all. Like, he's
John,
with me on Sky Moore.
I mean, I like Sky Moore too. I really do. Like, I mean, I'd rather be aggressive than not on Sky Moore, but I'm looking at what they... I mean, MVS, Valdez-Scantling...
Do you still have Hardman there?
Oh,
I know Hardman's a pain in the ass, but he is still there.
I mean, they gave him $30 million, okay?
All right, that's a lot.
Yeah, now look, the guarantee isn't as high. I understand that, but it's way more than Juju.
Yeah.
Oh, Juju's dead.
Yeah, I'd rather have MVS than Juju. I know the ADP is wild on that. Like,
actually, we do have Juju higher because I do think
so ridiculously priced.
Well, you think Juju?
Yeah.
Oh, we have Juju way below his price. Yeah.
Oh, and I have him with 7 touchdowns, and he's still way below.
Yeah.
Way below.
Yeah. I don't mind that at all. I think we need to. I'm with Scott.
I'll move him up.
I think the most likely outcome. I mean, Kelsey's going to lead them in receiving, but I think the most likely outcome is Valdez-Scantling leads the receivers in receiving, and I don't mind being aggressive on Sky Moore either.
Yeah, I think the most likely outcome is Sky Moore leads their receivers and catches. That is, I'll give anyone 2-1 odds right now. Let's go. Sky Moore leads them in catches.
In catches, they're wide receivers. Oh, catches. Okay.
Yep.
Ooh. I'll take it.
All right, done. How much? 1,000?
We don't have Hansen money.
Not so confident now, are you? All right. Anything else?
Tight ends?
Yeah.
Tight ends and quick. I gotta go get my suit. Tight ends. Let's see here.
I don't think we.
So right off the
very
bat,
chalky at tight end, by the way.
Yeah,
because we have to be.
Right off the bat, we have 1.5 points between Kelsey and Mark Andrews, and I really just don't feel great about that. If you look at Mark Andrews over the past few seasons, he jumped like 43% in fantasy points per game year over year. But like efficiency was actually perfectly in line with his career average. The only thing that changed, not route percentage, was routes run per game, 23.3 to 38.9. That was a 67% increase. And I think this goes back to what we were saying with Lamar, where it's like they led the league in point differential 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Last year, they finished with a negative point differential. And then they lost their RB1, their RB2, and their RB3. So what did they do? They were forced to unleash Lamar, lean pass heavy, and the results were really poor. It was their worst record since 2015. And I don't think that's going to happen again. I think they're going to revert to their massively run heavy ways. And so it's like, I'm not arguing against Mark Andrews as tight end too. I just think there's a tier between Kelsey and him. You could say the loss of Hollywood helps his targets, but I mean, like, the loss of Tyreek Hill should help Kelsey's targets.
Yeah, that's fair.
all fair. Kelsey, we do have the age factor creeping in, so that's something I can't ignore.
I do,
Certainly,
yeah, I do think, John, at the very least, though, Mahomes will probably lean on Kelsey age regardless at the beginning of this season.
Yeah, but then again, they trade Hollywood. What are they doing? It's Lamar throwing in between the numbers freaking all day long. So, I mean, he'll lean on them too. But, yeah, I hear you. I mean, that was I will say in 2020, Andrews just had a shit year. Like the pandemic and whatever. Like he was just off in that year.
I think it was Lamar too.
What's that?
Like I had so much Hollywood and Mark Andrews, and like they were open. They just couldn't make catches.
Yeah. But I'll shave a little off of Andrews here.
I mean, I love Mark. I just think it's a little much. I mean, like that's how they're being drafted by ADP. I just don't agree with it. Yeah. George Kittle, I just have like one interesting note, and that's over the past 2 seasons, he averages 20.3 fantasy points per game without Deebo Samuel. And with Deebo Samuel, it's just 12.6. So again, if like he's traded or this holdout extends, like he has massive league winning upside to me. But if not, he's probably a little overvalued. It's just like the usage thing. Yeah. He's Travis Kelce's outscoring him by like 20%, but Kelce's running 40% more routes run. And it's just like a massive handicap because he's such a good blocker. But like on a per target basis, like he's Rob Gronkowski per route basis. Rob Gronkowski, and like no one else is Rob Gronkowski or comes close to it.
2 years ago in my number one league, the ACI, I took freaking Kittle over Kelsey. Egregious, but I was thinking of along your lines. Like I need a knockout blow. Everyone knows my damn picks, so I'm going to go for it, and it did not work out well. I think I figured out Kittle basically, and it's very simple. In addition to the durability problems, I've actually talked to Shanahan about that. I got a couple eye rolls very early in his career when we were calling him George Brittle.
Interesting.
The fact that he's a great blocker, but I think it simply comes down to the fact that Shanahan is scheme over player, period. Shanahan is not making it a point to get Kittle the ball every week, period. Like there are games where it's all Kittle. But there are other games where the dude gets like 3 targets. Like is Kelsey? When's the last time Kelsey had 3 targets in a game? You know?
Never happened.
That makes him volatile. Anything else?
I don't think I have any other notes at the tight end position except that after like tight end 11, it just died.
It's horrible. I mean, I can see Komet. Because like they have so little at receiver, I will never draft Tyler.
Yeah, but he's not going to score any goddamn touchdowns.
Bobby Tunyon, if he's freaking healthy.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I draft Gronk here if he does come back.
Here's one. I'd move up David Njoku. Mary Kay Cabot. I understand his numbers have been nothing. Mary Kay Cabot says they're on close to a deal that's going to pay him $13 million a year.
Well, he's definitely got incriminating photos of the Haslam family. I mean,
either that or he's got proof Deshaun did something wrong.
I mean, I've talked with multiple Brown guys, and none of them can make any rhyme or reason of what they're doing with David Njoku. Like they don't use him the way they say they're going to use him. Like last year, they're going to be lining him up at X all the time. I think he did it a little, but. And then they have to
give him a long-term contract.
Yeah, I'd give him a
long-term contract. They're afraid of losing him. Okay, can you use him well?
Yeah, that deal was bad, but somehow not the worst tight end deal of the offseason. Seattle gave Will Dissly a shit ton of money. And Dissly was like, I was shocked.
What about that Ian Thomas one, too? That was bad, wasn't it?
That was bad.
God. John Logan Thomas tore his ACL late in the season.
Yeah,
I think this is a fair ranking because, like, yes, and like that's really concerning. He might not be back by week 1, but like they have no one else on the roster. Sammy's Reyes maybe, but like when he was on the field, he was playing 100% of the snaps, and that's sort of like the Konami code quarterback thing where it's such a cheat code.
Yeah, I liked him a lot last year. It was going to work out.
Yeah, me too. He crushed me, and he was good before the injury. He had 2
Yeah.
IR stints.
Yeah. Okwe
Ricky
Ibanon, by the
Seals
way. I don't
Jones,
like
by the way,
Alberto.
John.
Huh?
I mean, this is low end, but Ricky Seals Jones, the Giants' only other tight end on
that's
the
a good
roster
one.
is a 4th-round rookie.
Who I happened to I interviewed that kid. That kid is amazing. Like he said he was going to run better. He said I'm going to run better than anyone thinks, and he did. So I got my eyeball on that guy. But that's another one where we'll see. Like we'll see what happens here. I mean,
Dawson Knox vibes with him, like hyper athletic.
That's a great call.
Guy for a few years.
Great call, because I interviewed Knox too. They were very comparable. They're still like the same guy. Really good dude. Like just a football player. Like, I mean, they walked him up to me. I was like, dude, you sure you're not like a lineman or like, you know, he just looks like a trench guy, but then he ran well and tested pretty well. But that's a wait and see guy. I mean,
For sure.
Anything else?
Kmet is kind of the guy I'm focusing on after like the top 10 or 11. Just because they don't have so much.
I know.
Oh, I really like Gerald Everett, but you have him above market anyway.
Yeah. I've never liked Everett that much, but I'm fine.
I mean, it's a great spot for him, right?
Yeah, for sure. Watch Donald Parham blow up, but yeah. Are you guys? I'm not into Albert O this year at all.
He's so tough because I was, and then they drafted Dulcich in the 3rd round.
Yes,
I know
they
Scott
did.
was,
And
I mean, it's just easy to make the bull case argument for him at his ADP. He ranked 6th in yards per route run last season, which is awesome. Like just the fact that he saw the field competing against Noah Fant, a round 1 tight end, is impressive. And if you just take his 36% route share and his 5.4 fantasy points per game and apply it to the role Noah Fant had last year, assuming Greg Dulcich has the role Albert O had last year, and that comes out to a tight end 8 finish. And now he has Russell Wilson, massive quarterback upgrade. So it's just like easy to make that case, but I'm not going to fight this one just because like I agree it's murky, and like I really, really liked Greg Dulcich.
Oh, he's another one. It must be these damn tight ends are all like amazing guys. Like Dulcich was
you know what's
awesome.
super weird? So I was talking to Danny Kelly, who used to run field goals, and a diehard Seahawk fan. He was talking about how Russ never targeted tight ends, and he thinks that's like a legitimate thing with his play.
Oh yeah, that's part of my analysis.
When they drafted Greg Dulcich, they were like, we are so excited to run this. Our offensive coordinator, he runs his offense through the tight ends. We talked to the quarterback. He can't wait to get in here and start peppering our tight ends with targets. Like really weird. I did not expect a team with like such a stacked wide receiving core to like be so focused on the tight ends. Who knows? Maybe that's just like the scheme they want to run, multiple 12 personnel. I don't know.
I mean, Dulcich, I'm sure can be a big slot for you. He could line up outside.
He has a vertical dimension that like not many tight ends have, like really special in that regard, though Albert O kind of had that too.
And when I interviewed him, I literally started with his hair. And he was totally cool with it. I was like, dude, look at this hair. Talk about it. And good dude, though. Yeah, but Russell, remember that Jimmy Graham year there in Seattle? It was. I think he scored a bunch, but it was bad.
Then he blew his knee out.
Yeah.
He
did score a bunch of touchdowns. But...
Yeah, I think that was it. But the catches were bad. You know, it's fluky. Russ is fluky. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it here. And Albert O is another kid I met I love another one. I liked him a lot, but not really.
Noah Fant looks a little low, just his pedigree, but I mean, I get the arguments against him.
I kind of like Austin Hooper. That's boring as hell, I know, but
I mean, there's just no one else.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
He stunk in Cleveland, but there's no one else.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Jesus, we're almost 2 hours in here.
Yeah. I gotta go get my.
Probably made 30 tweaks.
Yeah. We gotta come up with some bets. If you're still listening to this, come up with some good bet ideas for John and I.
No, I really want to. Really need to mark down these discrepancies, and I guarantee you, if there's 16 of them, it'll probably be 8 for 8. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But It's
All
certainly.
right, we'll have to start tracking it, John.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If it dips
Because
below
we can
50%, I'll just learn to shut up.
We'll just keep tracking
I'll
it.
learn from you, because I think that's the thing is I've really learned there's just some guys where it's like elite talent. The coach is saying committee, who gives a shit? Same thing with Javonte. It's like, I didn't fight you on Javonte. He's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Kaplan too is with me. Like, this guy is really good. So we're in on that every time, so yeah, I just want to jot it down. A, to break balls if I'm right, and B, to learn maybe a blind spot of my own if I'm wrong. So,
I just want to say something really quick. I said Tyler Huntley was like vastly superior to Lamar Jackson last year. That was just like a stupid comment. I had the numbers up in front of me, but I forgot it was purposefully stripping out the 4-touchdown, 450-yard Colts game. But otherwise,
I had a guy today on. I did Gurific trivia, and I gave him this AFC North quarterback was top 12 in points per game the final 8 weeks of the season, but he is not being drafted as a top 30 quarterback this year. That's one of those, either you get it right away or you don't. And the guy did get it, Tyler Huntley.
Wow. That's pretty
Granted,
good.
it was only like 6 games out of the 8 that he played, but he was top 12 in points per
for
game.
fantasy. Yeah, he wasn't good either. It's just he ran.
Right. No, I know. I'm pulling back a little myself on the cheat code guys, and that's why I have these guys like that I do, but I've made the tweaks here. So we are a little bit more cheat codey here at the top here. Like, we've got in the top 8, we've got Kyler, Lamar, Hurts, Dak. That's 4 right there, in addition to Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, and Burrow. So, I mean, that's pretty good.
Uh-oh.
Well, my dog's getting Gretzky. She's getting.
All right.
Hey,
if
guys,
anyone's still listening, I'm doing a live stream tonight with Sean Siegel talking dynasty startup strategy. So check that out.
I have got to run, guys, because I have to get to the suit shop before 5:30 when it closes.
Well, we'll wrap it up here.
Good luck.
All right.
For Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, Tom Brolley, I'm John Hansen. Special thanks to our guy, Ben Kukanis. This has been the 2022 Ranking Summit. We've made about 35 tweaks from this, and we'll catch you next time at fantasypoints.com.